Do you think that people are going to have to pump money, open their wallets immediately, swipe their card to enjoy Destiny Rising? Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. Just recording a podcast to get out and elevate the hype level around Destiny Rising, which drops on Thursday, August 28th. So if you're listening to this after the fact, we're just 3 days before. So this is August 25th. Today, I am joined by some of the best Destiny Rising players I know. And so some people that are a higher level of authority on the game, but also have a background in Destiny 2. So let's talk real quick before we do our introductions here. Let's talk real quick about what the objective and the goal of today's conversation is. The goal of today's conversation is to bridge the gap between Destiny 2 and Destiny Rising, to answer some of the questions, maybe get ahead of some of the misconceptions of what the two games are. So I have a lot of questions myself. Here's where my background is. I've enjoyed my time with the closed beta of Destiny Rising. I know I want to play more of it, but I'm firmly in the D2 camp. So I'm hoping that this will be as informative for you as it is for me. So let's start here with the man who helped me put this together from the top, Mr. Asterix. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, appreciate you being here. Next, I have Mr. Boog Slugas. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And finally, rounding out our quartet for the day, Lixie. How you doing, man?
Just woke up. I'm feeling good.
So, Asterix, I want to come back to you, man. So let's talk real quick. We're going to go around the horn. I want to talk about what experience level with Destiny 2, just briefly, like when did you start playing? How much do you engage with the different releases that come out? Let's talk about like how in tune you feel with the meta as it shifts. And then let's talk about experience with Destiny Rising a little bit as well. So maybe like a 30-second. Where are you at with D2 and where do you feel with Destiny Rising, man?
So I was a veteran coming from D1 and I had just graduated high school, so I had a lot of time. And I put in a ton of hours up until probably Season of the Drifter. And that's when I started falling off because I was really into PvP and I didn't really like the direction Bungie was going with it. So I dropped off the game and I came back here and there. I always kept up with it, but I didn't always play it. As far as Destiny Rising, I didn't play it in the alpha, but I was in the beta, and I met a lot of cool people, Boog being one of them, and I really enjoyed going for like the speed runs, trying to top the leaderboards in the beta, and I'm just overall excited for Destiny Rising.
Gotcha. Awesome. Boog, how about you?
So yeah, I started playing Destiny 2 sometime around Shadowkeep. I played a little bit before around the start of Black Armory, but yeah, I've been playing Destiny 2 since Undying. I've spent like a decent amount of time on every single season and DLC since then. Gone engaged with some of the end game. Like I've gotten like a lot of every single raid done, dungeons. Tried some low mans. The two dungeon contest clears. I'm nowhere near the best, but yeah, I'm a decently dedicated Destiny 2 player. For Destiny Rising, yeah, I've been playing both the alpha and the beta. Spent a good few hundred hours total, engaged in both like end game and more casual stuff. So yeah, I'm quite excited to play Destiny Rising.
Awesome. And Lixie, how about you?
I'm also coming from Destiny 1, and I played Destiny 2 day 1 up until Forsaken. They killed my Cade. I had to take a break, and then I've come back ever since. Like just every once in a while, and then I take a break. So I've had a new player experience like 500 times. It's not great, and used to focus on raids. Now I mostly do PvP stuff. My favorite raid probably is all the Leviathan raids that are gone now. But
oh man,
I liked those. Leader Worlds was my favorite. For Destiny Rising, I opted in with Boog originally. We and some others went clearing the raid first, and then we both split off, having probably like the two main clans for alpha test. I couldn't do a beta test because I couldn't play it on anything. Just don't have an Android phone.
Gotcha.
I've played the alpha all the way through a bit too much, and I was there. It's like a there in the beta doing politics.
So let me ask you guys this, and I feel like you got obviously I gave a shorter time window for the introductions, but I feel like you guys are downplaying, or maybe I've even downplayed a little bit. Can you express a little bit more? Lexi, you kind of touched on it there. So your experience with the raid coming in and stuff. You guys, am I understanding correctly? You guys placed very high, correct?
Boog and I and some others, we were the world's first team, and then my clan, we went grinding at it nonstop, trying to get like the top time on everything every week. It was unhealthy, and they were doing it too, but they were being a little bit calmer, which is understandable. And we had a few people working together to bug hunt and try and feed a bunch of stuff to the devs, because it was alpha. There was a few bugs. Found like 30 different out of bounds. Discovered double jumping in the wolf pack, which is patched, sadly. That was amazing. I found like 2 different no-clip things where it makes you feel like you're playing Gmod. So there's all kinds of stuff in there.
Just trying to break it. I think that's one of the coolest things. Like when you find mastery in any game, is then taking it to the next level and being like, okay, well, how can we twist this? That's really cool. I knew the answer to that. I wanted you guys to say that a little bit more. So I appreciate you laying that out. Yeah, world's first in that alpha test there, and then being able to find the mastery of that. So my connection with you guys was kind of unique with, I had someone, so obviously I had started making some D2 videos. I had someone who was fairly new to my community come in. She hit me a message, said, hey, I have no idea if you have any interest in this, but I saw this link for the content creator program for Destiny Rising. Would you be interested? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, and she had no connections or anything. She just sent me the link. So I filled it out, did all that stuff. Probably 3-4 weeks later, I get a message from Echo, who's one of the community managers, reached out to me and said, hey, we'd love if you come in, do all this stuff. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I get in there, and obviously there's other creators and stuff. So I'm figuring like, oh, small fish, big pond type situation. And then I get another message, and they're like, hey, would you be interested in hosting a very specific stream inside the Destiny Rising Discord? So have people come in, we'll give you some stuff to give away, things of this sort. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be awesome. But then I had this moment where I'm like, I don't know hardly anything about this game. Like, I didn't know about some of the activities they were asking me to show off and do these things. So I think, Asterix, I think you hopped into one of my live streams and you were like, hey, man, just answering questions that I had while I was doing. And probably just like, who is this dude streaming it? But I think I was one of the 3 people streaming on the Twitch director at the time, which is kind of an interesting thing. So then like rolling through from there, being able to have that experience, and then you guys being willing to kind of pull me in. And then I mentioned this before we started recording. I'd log into the game and I'm still trying to churn out things in the campaign and kind of do these like side missions and explore the worlds and patrol and stuff. And I'm like, you guys are playing some sort of like Catan game inside, and you have this, the whole wolf pack, like you guys are decorating everything. And I'm like, okay, I think that's the moment for me where my mind kind of opened up to the reality, like, hey, this is different than Destiny. The first person gameplay feels familiar enough. Obviously being able to go in third person is awesome as well. But my feeling when I stepped out of that experience, the first person experience, when the guns are no longer in my hand, I go into the different features and the different aspects of the game. It feels foreign to me. And that's why I want to reach out to you guys to have this discussion today. So I appreciate you guys taking some time. Here's what I want to start. Let's bring this up. This is kind of a broad thing. And Boog, I'll start with you here. What's the number one feature or system you're hoping that NetEase gets right with Destiny Rising? Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the onboarding process being bad. I'm hoping I'm not taking anything away from you, but like that's a system for me that I feel very passionate about. Like when people come into the game, they need to know, hey, this is the golden path. Go do this, and if you experience this, you're gonna have a good time. What's some features and systems that you think that they need to get right?
Okay, this one's going to potentially resonate with maybe some older Destiny players, but it's really just getting the social features down. Because in Destiny Rising, we have like a brand new tower equivalent called Haven, and it is so much better than the Destiny 2 tower. And in the tower, there's a lot of stuff you can do. You just got your good old, it's like the soccer pitch back on the farm in vanilla Destiny 2. You have like, you even have like a tiny little fishing spot, right? And the way that it kind of expands out. And on top of that, you have a lot of mini games that you can do on the side. Like, for example, if you don't feel like going into strikes for a given day, you can go into sparrow racing, right? If you're really chill, you say, oh, I just want to grind the card game, just play the card game. You want to go fishing, just go do fishing. You want to customize your base, just customize your base. It's these kind of side aspects that Destiny 2 really hasn't been able to lean into much. Or even if they tried leaning into it, it doesn't feel as complete. Like when I say stuff like fishing, Destiny Rising does it so much better than D2, because D2 is just, you just wait for the audio cue and press one button. But in Destiny Rising, it feels so much more interactive, and there's so much more stuff to upgrade, right? And so, yeah, it's like if I were to really just choose one thing, it's all this kind of social and minigame stuff that really makes the game feel like a true social experience. A more casual experience, yeah, but it has quite a bit of charm to it.
Do you think that it's going to be an important differentiation between core Destiny and Destiny Rising, the little offshoots? We have this gunplay, this this first person aspect of the game, but are you suggesting that you think that that's going to be a core thing to Destiny Rising's success, the way that they execute on some of these other offshoot features?
I think offshoot features might be especially with seeing how Destiny Rising's gunplay is fundamentally it's almost 80% of the way toward to where Destiny 2 is. Anything that's offshoot is really important if we're considering Destiny wants to become potentially an MMO. Especially like Destiny 2, not as much of an MMO because it just misses out on all of these offshoot features, right? For example, if you look at games like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, you have all of these, side professions, right? You want to do mining, go ahead. You want to do goldsmithing, go ahead. You want to do fishing, you want to level up your fishing level, go ahead. But Destiny 2 really misses out on that. And so for Destiny Rising to really feel like it's something that Destiny 2 isn't, it really needs to give us these additional things to enhance the immersion a bit more.
Yeah, I think that's great. Asterix, let me ask you this, man. Do you think it would be correct or proper to categorize Destiny Rising as the Destiny 3 that fans have been asking for? Or is this something that's completely different?
So I feel it's more something that's completely different. So it's similar enough to where it's Destiny, it feels like Destiny, but it's overall much more casual. Like it is a phone game, it's a mobile game. It's something that you can play on the go that doesn't require a whole bunch of time commitment, but you still have the ability to sink a lot of time into it if you want.
I gotcha. So I use this phrase a lot when I talk about Destiny Rising. I use the phrase, it's unique Destiny fun. It feels genuinely like unique. What's the phrase they use? It's a uniquely Destiny story or a genuine, whatever they use when they were trying to convince people that Renegades wasn't just Star Wars rebranded as Destiny, whatever. They're like, no, this is a Destiny story, like in the Destiny universe. I felt immediately when I fired up Destiny Rising, I was playing on controller. And so Lixie, as you were talking about like playing D1 and stuff like that, I was getting D1 vibes like very heavily from that because I was playing on controller as well. I've been playing D2 on mouse and keyboard for so long. It kind of felt nostalgic in its own right with that too, right? Like, I think I agree with you, Asterix. It's a wholly unique experience. It definitely feels like it's its own branch, right? Like, obviously, there's familiarity. We have NPCs that cross over, but they cross over in different ways. They're not the exact same people. Very clear on that. But I'm definitely feeling more of a D1 nostalgia, personally. I don't, Lixie, do you feel that at all?
You even have like the same almost, like I mentioned my messing around, finding bugs and stuff. I did that in Destiny 1 as well. Can't really do it in Destiny 2, it's almost too polished. But Destiny 1, I'd run around, do whatever. There's all kinds of groups I would find. I'd find people that like doing role plays. Like I found this one group that do a dance off in the game. Know how they manage that, but it was similar things in Rising where just like be a group of people there in a corner crouching together, just no reason, they're just doing things.
Just
it's
hanging
not
out.
A constant grind, like always having to do stuff like Destiny 2. You can take some time to relax and just mess around.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think what you guys have kind of nailed on, Boog and Lixie, right there, just the idea of community and bringing people together, right? Like, that's one thing I do want to talk a little bit, take a little sidebar to talk about like mobile gaming just in general. But I feel like when it comes to apps and it comes to things on the phone, my mentality is with my phone, I'm like, I want to have the least amount of things on my phone because it feels like a distraction from the real world. That's my personal stance. I'm like, hey, if someone tells me, hey, if you download this new app, I'm already like kind of out because I'm like, I don't need another thing pulling my attention. Probably my most ever played mobile game just in general is Pokemon Go. And the reason for that is because I found people in my local area to meet up with, to go to a park or go downtown and things like that, to do that. And so I wonder, maybe Lacey, you can hit on this as well. Like, do you feel like that's going to be a core thing to the success of the fact that Destiny Rising is a mobile game? If they can find a way to unite people, do you think that that's important? Or do you think like over time it's not really going to matter because the game's going to be good enough?
It'll definitely help. Destiny 2's had a new player problem, and part of that is so much of the audience that would be interested has either already looked into it and tried it and just said no, or is already part of it. bringing it to mobile. It's a whole new platform, a new pool of people that can play, and then maybe get into full-blood Destiny as well. So this is an entirely new audience to start from. There's all kinds of people that I know would be interested, but maybe didn't have a computer. They've wanted to play Destiny, but they couldn't. And there's all kinds of people that are too busy to carry a computer and a big power source along trying to play Destiny on the go. So this fixes that as well.
Yeah. That's fair. To your point, when the closed beta was happening back in the summer, we looked up the date. It looked like it was May 29th when it kicked off. During that time, I had some friends come in town, and my buddy Tom, he came over. He had never played before. He had never, he had never engaged with anything Destiny related. And while he was over, I had him sit down with the controller because I was trying to think of things. They asked the content creators in the Discord, they asked us, they said, hey, can you help us make some content during this time? Here are the things like we want to try to do. And I was like, hey, that'd be a unique perspective, right? Like give the controller to someone who's not even played core Destiny at all. So what we did that weekend was we recorded a video together. I think it was the main part that I featured was him playing through the mission where you unlock the exotic grenade launcher in the campaign. He was playing that, and we had some very genuine excitement moments because that was the first time I had experienced, first time he experienced it, and getting in doing that. But what I will say is we logged into normal D2 later, and I just had him run around the Cosmodrome, and he's like, oh my God, this is so much better. Like no doubt, that kind of thing. But I think he's just looking at it from like holding the controller, running around the Cosmodrome compared to running around, any of the patrol zones, stuff like that. It's obvious, right? Like the engines are different, like what they're made for and things like that. But the experience that they're able to provide for us on a mobile platform or through emulation, I think it's super impressive. So I think that there's definitely something to that. Boog, you had mentioned earlier that you also hoped that there may be a bridging that would take place between Destiny Rising and Destiny 2 and maybe like an open bridge between both ways. What do you think about that? Do you think that that's a reality? Do you think that there will actually be conversion between the two platforms?
Conversion between the two platforms. I think it's more realistic to say that with the current state of Destiny 2, there's going to be a lot of players that are coming in from Destiny 2 thinking, hey, I need something new. I need something new. It's in the same vein as people asking for Destiny 3. It's because, even though Destiny Rising is not a Destiny 2 sequel, the same way people expect Destiny 3 to be, it's still Destiny, right? And I think, of course, there's definitely going to be a lot of people coming in seeing what Destiny 2 has to offer. Maybe people even feeling nostalgic about how things felt back in Destiny 1, and they'll maybe find, Destiny Rising feels like such a better place to stay. But on the other end, something that I'm definitely going to say is that Destiny Rising over to Destiny 2, it's going to be quite rough. Mainly because Destiny Rising has a lot more new player-friendly stuff, a lot more onboarding, especially with, how the story just flows from the very start to the newest patch. It's just one long continuous story, right? But we don't really have that in Destiny 2. The gunplay is way smoother in Destiny 2, of course. The gameplay is way more refined, the graphics are more refined. But for new player onboarding, it's not really there. And even if Destiny Rising does a bunch of the work for them, it's not really going to hit the same.
Yeah, I think that they're going to be unique audiences. I think it will end up in a ripe situation. Like if Destiny Rising could take off, I think that that's actually going to be the push that would get us some other Destiny media properties. I'm looking for a Cyberpunk Edge Runners type Destiny. Like I want that so bad. But that was like the perfect blend of articulating the cool things you can do in this gaming universe. The last thing I personally want is like a live action Destiny. I don't want that. Like this stuff's too fanatical, right? Like the supers we have and things like that. I think they could really articulate it in that way. But I think the reason we've not gotten that, obviously it's been rumored forever, like all the way back whenever it was when Luke Smith went off and they're like, oh, they're the leads over the Destiny franchise or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, well, we assume that means like, hey, we're getting like movies and TV shows and, other content. And we literally got none of it. Like nothing ever came out of it. And so I'm personally excited that we're getting in Destiny Rising, we're getting an expansion of the universe. It happens to be another video game, but it's slightly different in that aspect. Asterix, let me go to you, and then I want to shift slightly. Asterix, what would you say that someone should have in mind, like a Destiny 2 player who's coming to Destiny Rising? Like what is a key thing or a key shift of mindset that they should try to do? I just launched the game for the first time. Maybe there's someone who logs in, does all their I guess you can't even say pinnacles anymore because that's not a thing in Destiny 2 anymore. But like that kind of mindset, right? Like their appointment gameplay, they're getting in on a weekly basis on Destiny 2, and they're like, oh, I'll go check this out. Like, what do you think the difference would be for someone logging into Destiny Rising for the first time?
So I think the big points are really be checking out like the new story, because I think Destiny Rising actually has fantastic story writing, even if their storytelling is a little rough currently. And then also just connecting with the people, because you have a global chat at all times. Even if you're in the middle of an activity, most of them you can still just pull up the chat and talk to people if you want.
So just a little more interconnectivity with the world around you. I did feel, and again, I felt like I was getting inundated with information so much about Destiny Rising. Like when I was in the world, I would say like I felt onboarded. I definitely don't feel like it was perfect though. Like we've made the point a couple times that Destiny Rising does it better than Destiny 2, but I still feel like with a lot of the systems, and maybe that's just me being an old head, I've never played these types of games, and I want to talk about the type of game that this is here in just a moment. So that's where we're going to pivot to. But I just felt like when I was playing the moment-to-moment gunplay, first-person shooter aspect of the game, I felt right at home. Yes, the abilities are different. Yes, the cooldowns are different. Yes, the way you chain things, slightly different. But, Boog, I think you said it was like 80% there, right? Like the gunplay, 80% there. We're right in that. We're in that range, and we can get there. I truly do believe that they can get there, get even closer, maybe into the margin of error, to bringing it closer and closer to the D2 experience of the gunplay, the abilities, stuff of that sort. For me, it was every time I came into the menu. And so, Boog, maybe I'll just cut to you here. Like, I want to take this section here and kind of cut some of the misconceptions maybe people have about the game. And you brought up a really good point earlier. This is a gacha game, but you made the point that gacha is not a genre. Gacha kind of expands over top of various genres. So could you expand on that a little bit?
So just to expand on it a little bit, it just happens that the modern days, like nowadays, when we think about gacha, we're thinking, it has to have, anime waifus. It has to be a third-person action RPG. If it's not an action RPG, it's not a gacha game, right? But of course, you also have to name some examples of, gacha games that don't necessarily have the same gameplay as others. You're looking at maybe, Uma Musume, right? That's a completely different genre of gacha game compared to the usual, like, just open world action RPG kind of deal they're usually getting. But yeah, and even among a lot of these gacha games, the monetization can still vary quite a lot. Not to say that, hey, it's like one game's monetization for a gacha game can be good and the other one can be bad. Like it's still gacha, and that's still going to turn away a lot of people. But yeah, Destiny Rising still, in terms of its delivery, in terms of what it's trying to achieve with endgame and social aspects, it's still going to be quite different. So if I were to put like a quick PSA, it would be not to try and judge Destiny Rising by trying to directly compare it to other gacha games.
I think that's a great aspirational thing. I think it's going to be really hard. And that's the reason you brought up the point, right? Like you already know that's going to be a hard thing for people to do, because that's why you make the point in general. Like you brought up the point and you're like, well, how much do you know about Gacha? I know close to nothing about it. Like what my understanding is, and I know close to nothing about it other than I think of exactly what you said. Like almost verbatim what you said, like the anime waifus thing, like that's what comes to mind. Putting money into a game, turning it into nothing, basically, is what, like that's what my of it ahead of time. Lixie, do you feel like you could express for us what is a gacha game? And do you think that people are going to have to just pump money, open their wallets immediately, swipe their card to enjoy Destiny Rising? Or is this something where, like, no, like people could get to the end game in a free-to-play manner, or relatively speaking?
You won't need money at all to really, at least to like get the characters. You should be fine. We had a guy do the math in the alpha test, at least, and get like a whole graph of the chance of you pulling it here or somewhere else. And it's like a soft pity at 50 pulls, and then a guaranteed hard pity at 60, with a 50/50s. If you don't get your character you want the first try, you'll get it again if it's a limited banner. Which, if you don't know gacha games, some other numbers off the top of my head, Arknights is pretty popular. They have like a 300 pull hard pity, and a free to play can get maybe like 600 pulls in a year. So you're guaranteed only like 2 characters a year, which is kind of ridiculous. Meanwhile, Rising, If you're just playing through all the stuff, you can get a 10 pool like every other day maybe, if you're being somewhat casual and just going through the missions at first. You can get anyone you want. You can get, like, maybe you can't get them 20 copies and max out every ability. That's where spending some money is definitely going to help, unless you save up and invest. But you can get every character for sure.
So as a D2 dedicated player coming into Destiny Rising, I understand that when I logged in for the first time in the closed beta, and I'm assuming it's going to be the same for the public release. I logged in, I wake up and I'm playing as Wolf. You are a guardian who's just been brought back to life. You come to Haven, you start your journey, right? You're fleshing out this, you're understanding and unraveling this story. You're trying to earn people's trust. And they're like, well, who's this new, this new light bearer, things of this sort. And as you progress your way through, you start having these little side missions and you start having different characters revealed to you, right? Like you have a side mission where you get to play as Kabir, you have a side mission you get to play as Ikora, and then Gwen and Tantu and all these different characters. What is that process of actually being able to unlock these characters and being able to flesh them out over time?
Yeah, so as you unlock those missions for those characters, you can really think of those as trials, and that lets you really like test out their kit. You like playing as them because we don't have selectable subclasses. All the characters are their own unique kit. So if you really like them, then hey, I want to go try and unlock this character, and you can go to the gacha system for that. And it really lets you flesh out their stories more if you pull them, and it's a bunch of story content.
Essentially, they give you these little like tutorials or teasers. Hey, this is Gwen's mission. And I'll be honest, those missions are some of the best missions that they give us. They do a good job of like seeding in there, at least in my experience. I love playing Ikora's mission. I love playing Gwen's mission, going through and experiencing those for the first time. Tantu's mission was cool. Like this character has two entities essentially inside of him and being torn between and seeing how those play together. The comparison and contrast between the two, it was pretty effective for me. I was immediately interested in being able to play those characters. Kabir's didn't hit with me personally as much. Even as a Titan, I was just like, I don't feel it as well, but I can see the utility with this kit. I feel like they do a good job expressing that. But let's talk, Boog, maybe you can give insight. So I choose and I say, hey, I want to build out Gwen. Gwen's awesome. She's badass. I think she's basically the main character of Destiny Rising. It seems like even if she's not the most effective, like she is what they're leaning into, and I think they're doing that properly because she's very appealing. So let's just say, for example, I play that intro mission of Gwen. Oh my God, I have to unlock Gwen and I have to get her fully maxed out. What does that practically look like?
What that practically looks like, and this is more of like an idea of more of like a discussion of how the entire like quote unquote class system even works in Destiny Rising, is that I would actually describe the actual character fantasy in Destiny Rising to be closer to the way that you're kind of choosing a class in an MMO.
Okay.
As in, every single character falls into certain archetypes, right? You got characters that are more support oriented, or characters that are more like, they're just raw damage output, or some characters that are better in neutral, or some characters that are better for tanking damage for the team, right? But the reason why you pick each individual character is because you like the very specific playstyle of each individual character. It's not really like D2 where it's like, hey, like Titan, Warlock, Hunter, it's just purely preference based. The differences are really just the individual abilities. There really isn't a semblance of class. But let's say if you were to pick Gwen, you're really thinking, hey, I want to go up in front of like enemies. I want to use my shotgun. I want to be pure close range, burst damage, self-sustain. And so you're thinking, if you're looking in terms of like, if I were to compare it to a very stereotypical like MMO class, it would be the equivalent of playing like Viper in Final Fantasy, right? It's like you're just picking the close range DPS class. That's the kind of mindset that I think would be better to kind of approach the way that we view characters in Destiny Rising.
Okay.
Is that it's more on the identity of the playstyle more than who the characters actually are when it comes down to gameplay.
Gotcha. So let's say you do resonate on a deeper level with the playstyle, right? Like I know Tantu, it seemed like hey, we're gonna has the support aspect of it, but we're also at a range, right? It's snipers and scout rifles. Is that correct for Tan? So what does it actually look like if I pick Gwen, I want to be up close and personal in the face, burst DPS or burst damage output, or I want to turn around and level up Tantu and I want to be that support aspect. I want to be the sniper on the hill, so to speak. What does it actually look like? How does a person level up a character to get ready to take on the raid, to get to the level that you guys were trying to push towards?
So yeah, it comes down to multiple forms. The first one is, of course, like just getting the materials to level up the characters. That's the first and most important thing. There's a bunch of side activities that you need to grind in order to get all the materials, in order to upgrade the skills, make them more effective. You also have like the weapon grind for the specific weapons, like you said, scout rifles and sniper rifles, trying to figure out, hey, what's best in slot for Tan. And for example, in both the alpha and the beta, it was just running Izanagi's Burden. And so yeah, it requires mainly it's a resource and time investment in order to get skills, levels, artifacts, weapons up. And once that's done and you're prepared, then you can just bring that same character. Then you can bring Tan into an activity, into any kind of high-end activity.
Okay. And so is there any kind of fast tracking of that through a paid source, or what is the actual benefit of spending money inside of Destiny Rising?
It mainly comes down to, I think, two forms. One of them, which is getting additional copies of a character through the gacha system, because each additional copy you get just enhances the capabilities of the character, right? Like, for example, it could be, hey, you get one more charge of an ability. Like, for example, for Gwyn, she does get like a second charge of her blink whenever you get 2 additional copies of her, which is going to change up her playstyle a lot because it means you have more abilities to play around. Or for example, some other characters, they might even see like a flat damage buff to some of their abilities, making them even stronger in specific activities. But aside from that, like that one's not as important because I think at base, the characters still operate the same, and it doesn't really affect the player's ability to clear any content to begin with. But on top of that, there is a bit of a resource aspect to spending money because you can get currency to use in the black market, which can give everything from exotic catalysts to glimmer to even level up resources for characters. And so there is a bit of fast tracking, but quite fortunately it's quite marginal in the way that it will give a player an advantage over another player.
Okay. So it's not as important, because I was under the misconception that it was fairly important for what you guys were being able to pull off on the top of the in game and stuff in that regard. But maybe that's just a misunderstanding. It's more of a grind behind the scenes you're not seeing, right? Like you're seeing the success of the hours we're putting in. So
yeah, and on top of that, one more thing to note is that while spending on the game does fast track some progress, it does make your character stronger. It does not impact the fundamental enjoyment of the game, the same way other games do. And this is kind of like a thought that I've been holding on to for a bit. It's really the concept of scarcity in a gacha game. In other gacha games, what they use to make you pay is that if you don't pay, you won't get all the characters that you want. And they make every single character attractive. And so, hey, I want everything, but I can only get 2 guaranteed per year. And so, of course, you just pay up in order to get more characters. But in Destiny Rising, that entire problem isn't really present at all. Because the base free-to-play player can just play every single day, do their dailies, play how much they want, and they're more likely than not just going to get at least 1 copy of every single character. So they're still playing the game in a very complete package. At the same level of power fantasy as other characters, as other players? Probably not. But the base game enjoyment is fundamentally still there. So it's really just for direct comparison with other players when it comes down to how strong your characters are. But aside from that, I don't really think it matters that much.
Okay. Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, that's great news for someone like myself. Like I'm not necessarily trying to find another way to swipe my credit card or anything of that sort. Multiple times in the past, where in my comment section or post a video, post something on Discord, you're playing that game, you're gonna take your money, do all this stuff, and I'm like, man, first off, no one can swipe your credit card for you. No one's gonna put your information in. So if you don't want to spend money on a game, don't spend money on a game. But if you're enjoying it and it's a free-to-play game, and you say, you know what, like I think that this purchase here would do that, only you can make an adult decision about your spending habits. Or if your child is playing Destiny Rising, you need to make sure that you have the proper restrictions on things of that sort, the permissions, to make sure that it not falling into that place. But I'm excited to hear that, Boo. You had said that before, so I want to make sure we reiterated that point. It is not necessary to have a full and complete package or enjoyment of the game Now, the depth of each individual character may be different depending on how this person spends money, this person does not, but you're going to be able to experience everything. So I appreciate that. Guys, I want to wrap up the conversation talking a little bit about this. Lixie, I'm going to cut to you here in just a second, but basically the idea of what does being competitive in Destiny Rising even look like? So you talked about leaderboards. Asterix, I know you had some good experience with this as well, so I want to get your opinion here in a moment too. But like, what is this leaderboard system you're talking about, and what does that even look like? When do those reset? You mentioned something about a weekly, like you want to be at the top weekly. So Lixie, tell me more. We don't have anything like that in D2. So what is that?
Well, there's leaderboards for pretty much anything you could think could be competitive. You got like character strength leaderboards, times for all the encounters. You're just simply getting a higher level in something that there's like 500 different tiers in. There's even like unofficial ones, I guess. Like you can go collect a bunch of fish and try and get the biggest fish you can. You can be competitive in whatever you want. And most of them, they reset weekly and you get some rewards for it. It's not like you're missing out if you aren't grinding on top of leaderboards. Like an extra bonus for us, I guess. A handful of resources that we can use. It just like speeds us up a bit. And like how Boog was talking about getting ready to get competitive, it doesn't take too much. You can get any character at a good enough level to grind out activities. It's just a little bit of resource grinding. You have a separate amount of times you can play each activity and like still get full resources from it, and you need it every activity. You don't need to like play one thing 500 times. You just need to like do the PvP a few times, do this encounter like twice, and they give you enough for all of that. So
I hope some sort of Bungie dev hears you say that and be like, hey, maybe we should do that in the portal or something in D2 and let people play everything and then get like equal rewards or something. Sorry, I'm a little salty, but we're good.
I'm upset about that too. It's horrible. But K1 logistics, man, I'm upset.
Right? You gotta get that sub too, man. That's where we're shooting. So I want to bring Asterix in here. When we first met, I was asking you a bunch of questions. You were telling me about leaderboards and stuff, and I was like, oh, dude, I haven't even opened the tab that has leaderboards on it. Like in game, I don't even know. What was your experience with it, and is that something that it seemed like that was something that enticed you in regards to Destiny Rising? What's your experience with that?
Yeah, so originally I was just joining groups and ended up setting leaderboard times, and then ended up just finding more people that wanted to optimize as much as we can. And so that was fun. Just like, where can we shave off more time? Where can we do better? And so that's one of the most fun parts. Like, if we're going to Destiny 2, the not swap is a big debate right now. And I personally like swapping because it's getting a little bit more, like, it's squeezing out as much as you can out of what you have available to you. But so that's where I find enjoyment in games. And so that's why I really like leaderboards. But I did want to clarify one thing that Lixie said. They all but one of the leaderboards don't give resources anymore. They only give a cosmetic title.
Okay.
And so it's not so much as a rich get richer situation anymore.
Gotcha. Okay. But it was before?
In the alpha is what I'm understanding. I didn't play the alpha, but what I understand is they did.
And it sounds like Lixie did play the alpha, but did not play the beta. So you guys are kind of two sides of the same coin. Is that right?
Yeah. I tried, but it's not my best attempt. I modded out my Steam Deck and I just couldn't get it to work.
Dang, man. Do you guys have experience with other mobile games and their touch format for things? I knew this group of dads that I interacted with in various places that like all played Call of Duty Mobile. Like they just loved it. They just played the time out of it and they were just super into it. Like, Asterix, first off, do you play Destiny Rising on mobile at all, or are you completely PC?
No, I try to keep all games off my phone. So
perfect. Okay, and so Lixie or Boog, I'll cut to either one of you. Open forum. Like Lixie, it sounds like you play on the phone primarily.
I play phone, and not only that, I refuse to go claw with all mobile games. Okay, I try and get more competitive. They try and use more fingers. I'll stick with my two thumbs and still win.
Yeah, that is one of the weirdest things. Like how seeing people hold and do that kind of thing. So, are you only mobile?
Plan B, like for playing this, I'm gonna be only mobile, touchscreen. Like I'm not gonna connect a controller either.
Wow, that's sick.
Like that with a lot of games. If I could play like for real Call of Duty, like I've played Call of Duty Mobile If I could play actual Call of Duty touchscreen, I probably would. I'm just really comfortable with it now. Years of playing all kinds of games there feels fine. I use another thing that where I also use the default controls on pretty much every game. I don't like change the HUD around or anything.
Really? That's interesting.
I take what they give me and try and learn. Helps me adapt more.
I like that. Boog, what's your experience with that? Do you play much on mobile, or are you mostly just on PC?
Well, it kind of depends. Like nowadays, I'm mostly on PC. But if there are mobile games that are designed for mobile only, then I still play on mobile.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Destiny Rising is not one of them. I will be playing on PC with an emulator.
Sure. Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I loved the experience of coming to my desk, sitting down, being able to play this game. That's a wholly new Destiny experience. I'll have it installed on my phone, right? Like I'll have it to have the capability to log in and stuff. I will probably say it'll be less than 5% of my gameplay over probably the lifespan of the game, unless something radically changes and a big part of the game becomes logging in, doing all these side things that we talked about earlier, Boog. Like, I just do not expect that I'm going to spend a ton of time on the mobile platform. But guys, this is how I'll close today. Is I think that they're making a smart decision by going into a different vertical, right? So we have the vertical, which is PC and console core gamers, and we love to say that Destiny's a dead game. Guys, that it's just not true. It's not as vibrant as a brand new game that's got Battlefield 6 and things like these. Like, these are brand new experiences. And yes, we could have the conversation separately. Like, should they do a Destiny 3? Should they relaunch? Should they do all this stuff? You could come down anywhere on the spectrum and probably have correct points, right? Like, you could make good, valid points for yes, no, and in between. But that's not where we are. But Destiny's also not a dead IP. There are a ton of people who are interested in it. There are a ton of people who are still playing it every day. We get Steam PC numbers, and we look at that as a representation. But we have a ton of people who still play, on consoles, things of that sort. We don't even get the numbers for. However, I think that it is a very smart diversification for both the IP and for player-based acquisition to bring them into the mobile gaming space and just seeing what that looks like. And saying like, hey, if you want to play on a tablet, you can play here. Hey, if you want to play on PC through emulation, I feel like if they continue to embrace it and just let themselves be different in the ways they are, like, I think that's fine. And then lean into the things that are similar, the gunplay, the fantasy, the story aspects that are similar with. I still think that there's a lot of story left to extract from the Traveler, from protecting the last city, the dynamic between these beings that can resurrect after they die or have all these paracausal powers. And then what I loved about Destiny Rising as well from a story aspect is the fact that it seemed like the world was living more. There were a lot more humans involved with defending their last city. Because I think that's a more realistic thing, right? Like, if it's the last city and you have people, like, you're going to have people who want to step up and do this, where I feel like Destiny 2, I understand you're not going to put out humans against all these alien factions, but it feels like there would at least be some people who are wanting to do that and wanting to fulfill those roles. And so I say all that to say, I think that they are standing adjacent to a gold mine. It's just going to be up to them to drill in the right location, if that makes sense. Like, they got to hit that. So guys, let's go around the horn. If there's any last thoughts, Boog, I'll start with you. Any last thoughts before we wrap up today?
Last things, huh? Last thing is probably, just head into Destiny Rising. Be a little bit more open-minded. Be prepared for stuff that you might not really expect from, just like when people say Destiny Mobile, and just have a good time.
Awesome. Asterix, how about you, man?
I'm excited to see where NetEase can go with it, because they have had a questionable past at some parts, but they've really brought it back these past couple years with new titles like Marvel Rivals. I want to see where they can innovate. I want to see what new they can really bring to Destiny.
Just being able to lean in. Do you think we'll get jiggle physics in Destiny Rising? That's the real question.
I don't think so.
That's all I know about Marvel Rivals is, like, anytime I see Emma Frost, or I'll see like a friggin' like
Cut to Venom twerking or whatnot.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, man, I'm with you. And here's what I'll say: a little friendly competition in the Destiny IP, things that are in Destiny Rising. I'm hoping it can light a fire under both dev teams, right? And say, yes, like, oh my gosh, like that is something that resonates with players. Let's do this. Lexi, you got any final thoughts for us, man?
My last piece, I guess. Like, if you're getting into it for the first time and you're not like a huge gamer, you don't need to push it. Only takes like 5 minutes to do the dailies usually. They're very fast and easy. I like the dailies. They were really well made, but you don't gotta grind out like crazy like you're gonna see the likes of us do. You don't need to be like us. You can get 90% of the way there just like 10 minutes a day. So don't feel like you have to go grind.
Just enjoy the journey, man. Just enjoy it.
Yeah. Time.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, because I will say, I think like if you were to slot the Destiny Rising campaign in with the D2 campaigns from an enjoyment level of the gameplay and the story and the narrative that they're taking, I mean, it goes up there pretty good for me, right? Like it's not surpassing for me like a Witch Queen or anything of that sort, but it's definitely sitting higher than like a Beyond Light, Lightfall, things of that sort. And so yeah, it's on a different platform. It's a different system. You're not leveling up the same character you have in D2, but for me personally, that's kind of where it sits. So yeah, I appreciate that, man. You guys are going to see a lot of people going crazy over the next couple weeks. Starting on Thursday, there's going to be a lot of people going nuts. Just remember, you don't have to do that for yourself. Guys, thank you very much. Boog, Asterix, Lixie, thank you guys very much for taking time to do this. You guys all responded to random DMs coming in, be like, hey, you guys want to sit down and do this? Not knowing me from Adam. So I appreciate you guys taking the time. If you are watching at home and you say, hey, you know what? I'm a Destiny 2 player, a new player, returning player. Maybe you're a grizzled veteran in Destiny 2 and you are interested. Take this from me, someone who put over 10,000 hours in Destiny 2. I've helped a lot of people with stuff. Give it a try. At least play through the campaign. If you don't want to sit, play on your phone, you don't want to hold your phone in your hand, that's fine. You can connect a controller to it if you want to over Bluetooth. If you don't want to do that, you can emulate it. It's very simple. I have a video on the channel that I'll link right now that you guys can access. Guys, one more time, thank you very much. And until next time, be blessed, y'all. Talk to you later.